Now, thank you so much, King Meta, for all these delightful samples that you've given me. I really, really, really appreciate it, and I've promised to do this video for so long. I just have a pile of samples here sitting next to me. I haven't done a initial impressions video or a sample and samples or whatever it was that I used to call it, little minis reviews, in such a long time. I used to do it a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, quite often, frequently. It would be a frequent video that would pop up on my channel. So I think I want to bring that little series back because it's nice on my wallet. It's nice for you guys, for me to see, for you to see what I think about a fragrance initially, if my opinion changes at all over time. And I can kind of touch base with fragrances that I don't like so much that way too. Because I try not to review fragrances that I don't like because, I don't know, I just don't like going out of my way to bash things purposefully anymore because I have limited time. So I like to just cover things that I enjoy, which I think makes sense. But I think I'm going to venture back into that realm of being a little bit critical of fragrances that I don't like. In a positive way, you know, not necessarily just breaking them down for no reason at all, chopping them down and making them feel like shit. I want to do it in a proactive way. That being said, King Meta, thank you so much. I appreciate you sending me these samples, and we're just going to go through some of these, and I'm going to let you know what I think. To be fair, I have worn most of these more than once, so just a little disclaimer. Because since he sent this to me, I have sampled most of them except for... No, I've sampled all of them. Okay, so it's called Ultra Male first by Jean-Paul Gaultier. So obviously Le Male is one of the classics in the game. One of the fragrances that some of the the giddiest, the pony. Nay. Yeah, some of the biggest noses in the game started because of Le Male. I mean, we have Mark, obviously, comes to mind. And if you guys didn't know him before he left and deleted all of his videos, Hyro was huge into Le Male as well. I don't know if it was the reason why he started, but he definitely advocated for Le Male. So that being said, to be honest with you, I have not smelled a single flanker of Le Male since they have released, and I'm kind of afraid to because I enjoy Le Male, but there is a certain element where I'm aware that it has a synthetic a vibe to it. Obviously, most people can attest to the fact that it's kind of synthetic, and I'm just worried that with the way things are now, being ultra sweet, that it would just take Le Male and make it even sweeter, which I'm not interested in because it's sweet enough as it is. I do enjoy Le Male. I've owned probably 3 or 4 bottles of it in the past. So that being said, let's see what Ultra Male is like. Holy shit. Yeah, and I don't mean that in a positive way either. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's horrendous. All my expectations have remained right where they were. They haven't budged. I had no expectation for this. Actually, I will say I did think that this was going to be pleasant because there is a lot of hype around this fragrance, actually. A lot of like people recommending, oh my god, you need to go clubbing with this one. You're gonna get the chicken choked if you wear it. No, this stuff is shit. It's not good. It's so plasticky and bubble bath and bubblegumish. That combination of like baby powder, bubble bath, cheap synthetic plastic bubblegum. It's not good. Washing this motherfucker off real quick. So next up we have CH Prive, which I have heard fantastic things about. I'm not a huge fan of Carolina Herrera. I did enjoy the original Pour Homme, but never really gave a lot of their fragrances the time of day, to be honest. Just because I have limited funding, and I know that my taste is expensive as hell. So I just spend most of my money on the fragrances that I really, really love and keep it at that. Kind of fallen off of the designer world and landed right deep into the niche, into the balls of the niche. Yeah, I've been in niche for a long time though, since I was like 20 years old, so it's not a bandwagon thing. CH Prive. Yeah, that's pretty pleasant. I don't know, I mean, based off of the initial smell, this is one that I only wore once, as well as Ultra Male. And I wore it maybe a month ago. Because he did send these samples to me, I want to say a month and a half ago. Yeah, CH Privé is pretty nice. It's like a boozy whiskey or cognac accord with like some tonka, maybe a little bit of leather. It's pretty nice. I would definitely wear that on a night out. And if I could get a bottle of that for like $40 or something, then I think it's probably worth picking up. Yeah, definitely synthetic, but I could definitely see that being a compliment getter if you want to go out for cocktails or something like that. So yeah, give that one a thumbs up. So we have one thumbs down, like way down into the ground, thumbs down. I'm a poet. And then we have a thumbs up. Next up, yes. All right, he already knows how I feel about this because I literally bought a bottle of it based off of the sample you sent me. So I don't really want to spray it because I need it to last me until my bottle comes in. But this is Mason Francis Kirchen's Baccarat Rouge 540, which, by the way, is expensive as all fuck. Like, if I'm being honest with you, 540 is way too expensive for what you're getting. This is a thumbs up, by the way, because I wore basically the majority of my sample and bought a bottle the second day wearing it. It's essentially a sugar fragrance, right? Like sugar water, transparent, like cedar molecule 01, sugary cotton candy type thing. But it's interesting because when I wear it, I don't know, like I stop detecting it for hours, and then suddenly I get a waft of it and I'm like, holy fuck, that smells delicious. I don't think it's groundbreaking, but it certainly does turn heads. I will say that. It is a pleasant fragrance. It's a warm and inviting fragrance. If you wanted one in your arsenal that's basically just like, this is sex, I would honestly recommend that wholeheartedly as a fragrance for the general public to enjoy. Next up in the samples, we have, yes, this was also another sample that he sent this to me side by side with, this one's gone, but this is Beyond Noir by Pineapple Vintage, which obviously I think most of you would know out there that is the house that does replicas, copies, whatever you want to call it, of some of the fragrances that we love most in this community, one of them being Aventus, which I do own Aventus, and I've owned maybe 3 bottles of Aventus throughout my journey. And I kept my last bottle that I purchased, I want to say maybe 2 years ago. And I've gone through the majority of it. I think that I've got maybe a quarter of a 4-ounce bottle left. It's just a very pleasant fragrance. People love it. I'll be honest with you. There's parts of me that like kind of don't like it just because of the hype. It's annoying to hear about it. But then I remember that the hype is only on this platform. People in the real world don't know what the fuck Aventus is, at least where I'm at in Rochester, New York. So that's kind of like one of those things where I just have to remember that the real world is not us as far as fragrance. People aren't going to know what it is. But anyways, that being said, I have kind of a seesaw effect with Aventus because sometimes I really love it and sometimes I don't. But I will say the one thing that I do enjoy about Aventus is when it has a smoky batch. That's really the only one that I would ever buy is a smokier batch with the birch tar and the leather with a really nice pineapple that's still vibrant. I don't like the lighter Aventus fragrance, like the batches. I think that they kind of suck. And when you're paying that kind of money for a fragrance to only last like 4 hours is just crazy to me. So that being said, all that to say, he sent me a Q01 batch, which is fucking bonkers for longevity. I wore maybe 3 sprays from this little vial here, and it was projecting and lasting all day long. But he sent that, with a side-by-side, which my vial of this is gone. of Beyond Noir, which I did enjoy Beyond Noir, but there was like this skanky, I don't know, funkiness to it. I own, by the way, and really enjoy, and I will do a review on it, of Noir Intense, or is it Noir Extreme? I forget. Noir Intense, I believe. I love that one. I think it's a great creation. It's about as close to the Aventus batches that I enjoy as they can get. So that being said, I have tried some pineapple vintage fragrances, and I don't hate them. Another one that I went through all of it and bought a bottle of is Montel's Starry Nights. If you guys know me, which most of you do that are subscribed to me, you know that I'm really not a fan of Montel. I think that they're kind of a one-trick pony most of the time, but I'm discovering that as of late, they have really peeked their head out and left the old rose oud combination medicinal blah blah crap aside and have started to do new concoctions. Starry Nights being one of them. I loved it. It was almost, to me, how it wears on me is kind of like if you took Chanel's Allure and mixed it with Montel's Intense Cafe, but minus the coffee note. So it ends up being this really nice, masculine, clean, semi-sweet rose, and I just think it's absolutely delicious. The rose isn't too prominent on my skin either, so that's great, because I don't really love most florals all too much. They kind of give me a headache. But it's just a really wearable, sexy compliment magnet of a fragrance, and I think that it's absolutely delicious. So, Starry Nights, great fragrance. And last but not least, I told him that I would do this, and I'm not swayed in any way, shape, or form on the reasons why he asked me to do this, because this community is the way they are sometimes with the arguments and stuff like that. I have Elysium, the original. Make sure that I just don't have anything on my skin here. The original Elysium by Rouge Dove, the original formulation. And why I'm saying that is because they did most definitely reformulate Elysium. How do I know that? Well, my good friend who sent this all this little package here to me had two different bottles. One was purchased before the other, and they smell different. Plain and simple. Holy, I can taste it. Holy shit. It's on my tongue. It's bitter. So, initial blast for Elysium. I personally think that this fragrance is boring. I'm not a fan, but it's pleasant, okay? The difference between the two versions, we're going to call them Reform and Original, because 100% it happened. The reformulated version is more synthetic. It's more synthetic, and it's almost skipped how heavy the original version's citrus notes are, because it's like citrus and lavender bomb on my skin, the original version over here. And over here, it's just like watered down citrus. I don't really even get too much of the lavender. It kind of just jumps right into like this bergamot thing. The fragrance as a whole, though, when I tried these both side by side, because I did this again like a month ago, and then just left them because I wanted to do this video. The OG Elysium was lasting about 10 hours on just my skin, okay? I didn't put either one on my clothes. I imagined that they would last all day on clothes. But the reformulated version is lasting about 6 hours on my skin, okay? OG 10, Reform 6. To me, a Rouge fragrance, which, by the way, I've watched like every interview with Rouge ever. I think the guy is classy and a master, and he's very good at blending and whatever. But his fragrances cost a lot of money because you're paying for an experience, you're paying for a master craft, etc. That being said, I've only owned one fragrance by him ever that I thought was bottle worthy, and that was the Amber Extrait, okay, which has now been discontinued. Every other fragrance tends to, on my skin, end up being kind of a weird jumbled mess at the beginning. Danger Pour Homme, oh geez, Scandalous. You know, a lot of those I did enjoy, but like after an hour of it drying down. I don't know if anybody else has had that experience or not. I actually really didn't like Musk Oud, Rose Oud, the list goes on. I didn't like any of those ouds. Amber Oud, I thought that they were all way too floral. But that being said, that did not sway my opinion either, okay? The fact that I already knew that I didn't really like Rouge, I was never really all that impressed with Rouge, other than Amber Extrait, which would probably make it in my top 10, honestly. I love that fragrance. Elysium just doesn't do it for me. It just doesn't. When I smell this fragrance, either one of them, I cannot help but think, my God, this is worse than Bleu de Chanel or Sauvage. I would choose both of those over Elysium any day of the week. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to be extra. I'm not trying to be controversial. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't think it plays well. It could just be my skin, but I end up getting, with the OG, a very floral nuance, and it is just not working for me. A very watery, citrusy floral. And on the reform, it just gets this very synthetic vibe, where I just sit here and I'm like, you know, Bleu de Chanel, I would take it any day of the week over this. That being said, I think, you know, Rouge is a great perfumer. Just don't like this. All in all, I think that they were mostly winners, and I ended up buying 2 bottles from the first initial impressions that I had from what he sent me. So thank you so much again for sending these to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much too for being so involved in all my videos. You've been such a great supporter for the last couple years that I really started to have a communication conversation with you. And yeah, I hope that you all enjoyed my first impressions of these fragrances. Again, Elysium has been reformulated. Talk about it down below and start a conversation going. Which one of these fragrances that I covered did you like the most? Which did you not like? And were there any on here that you think that I'm batshit crazy for not liking? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Tunes Reviews, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. This one is that Pineapple Kush. This one's Oprah Winfrey. Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. They got funky names for pot now. Crack Attack. That's just crack.